To track the big story of the day this Easter Monday, that's the passing of Pope Francis, the announcement made by the Vatican just earlier this morning. Well, we're joined now by Father Johny Mphatse, who is in Rome, where he's currently furthering his studies. Father Mphatse, it's good to talk to you. And how does it feel being in Rome at a time like this?
Good afternoon, and afternoon to all the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. It's quite sad at the moment in Rome now. It was actually a jubilation yesterday when the Holy Father came out for the Easter blessing, and of course he went out around the Piazza San Pietro, greeting the people. I mean, for the past week we've been debating on his health, that he's recuperating, and it's unfortunate that this morning we were woken by bells. There's always bells in Rome, but they were quite different this morning. Then we learned in the news that the Holy Father has returned to his Father's house. It's everyone's mood is down. It's one thing I can say.
Father Mphatse, tell us more about, aside from the Vatican releasing a statement, of course, notifying the world of the passing of Pope Francis, what happens at the Vatican? You've talked to us about the bells that you heard that was somewhat different, but are there certain ceremonies that take place there at the Vatican to signal the passing of the Pope?
At the moment, there is nothing that's happening. Of course, behind closed doors, there's a lot that is happening. After the Camerlengo announced the passing of the Holy Father, of course, the Holy See has to then sit down and arrange for the burial of the Holy Father, which will happen in the next coming few days. So I think at the moment the arrangements will be to arrange the burial of the Holy Father. Of course, we've just received the news of the suspension of the canonization of Acutis, which was meant to happen this coming weekend at the Jubilee of Adolescents. So the Holy See has placed a pause on that particular canonization, and I think at the moment they are arranging for the funeral of the Holy Father, which will be a bit different to what we are used to when the Pope dies. The Holy Father has left instructions as to how he would wish to be buried, and the procedures that we normally know would at least take a bit of a turn to what we are normally used to.
Right, and the timing of his passing also comes at a time where there just has been more of a crowd gathering at the Vatican, more than usual perhaps, because it's been the Easter weekend.
With the Jubilee of 2025, pilgrims of hope coming from all around the world, it's quite one of those things that makes it a bit, the mood is down. You can even see with the people in the Vatican that there are people who are still coming. Of course, it's post-Easter. We are still on the Easter tide. People have come around the world to pass through the doors in the basilicas in Rome. People have just been here to celebrate the Easter with the Universal Church in the Vatican and around Rome. There's still more people who are still around Rome and those who are still coming in for the canonization. So actually everyone, I must say, I mean, in the house where I stay, the mood is quite down. You can see the nuns walking around praying. Everyone is praying. We are all going towards the Vatican to offer our prayers for the repose of the soul of the Holy Father. So it's quite that mood of mourning, as we have lost a leader that we've been praying for in the past few weeks. When he was in hospital, he came out of hospital during Holy Week. He came out a few times to greet people, to wish people the best. And yesterday, of course, was one of those historical moments where after giving his blessing, he went around and greeted people. one would say maybe he was saying his goodbye, but it's one of those things. But the mood is actually very, very down. People are quite sad, very prayerful also for the soul of the Holy Father.
And a leader who, in many ways, blazed a trail for how the Catholic Church interacts with the marginalized, with the LGBTQIA+ community, with those who are marginalized in terms of women being part of the clergy in church, the poor, those who are living in war-torn countries. He had a more human touch than historically, one might say.
Yeah, Pope Francis, I mean, having taken the name Francis also was, he came down. He was a very humble bishop of Rome. He opened doors to those who are homeless. If you would walk around the Vatican, you can see even the tents of those who do not have homes. They have camped near the Vatican because the Holy Father had opened doors for them. He offers them meals. They have a place to shower. I mean, even the poor and the vulnerable around the world, I think his particular charism has touched many of us. His way of his pontificate, one would say, a bit different to those of his predecessors, but generally, those who were close to him, the poor, the marginalized, you have mentioned the LGBTQ, those who felt that he was not judging, as many people would think that the church, even though it's not true, that they feel that the church is very judgmental on their states of life and all that. But he was the Pope's people. He was a Pope who was down to earth, who really felt the pain of those who do not really have much, and who aligned his life to seeing to it that the poor and the marginalized, the refugees, are given room to be people and their dignity is restored one way or the other. So indeed, it's one of those that we've had. We are very much grateful that we've had a Pope who came down to the people, who was one with the people, a people's Pope, basically.
Father Johny Mphatse is joining us from Rome, where he's currently furthering his studies. Father Mphatse, a great pleasure talking to you this afternoon, and we wish you well for the coming days.